All right, Sean. First of all, we want to say thanks to All Decked Out for
Indeed.
these lovely beer mugs, which we are drinking our beverage out of tonight. Tell me a story. The logo and everything on them. All Decked Out is a wonderful store here in the Miramichi. They have everything you could possibly want, all sorts of costume ideas. They can do printing on t-shirts. They made this t-shirt right here for me. I have a dash hound, and it says my dash hound is cuter than your kids. They also had to trophies. They do what? They do fake blood. They do fake blood. If you don't want to go to school, kids, buy a gallon of fake blood at All Decked Out and just drown yourself in it and scare the shit out of your parents. So All Decked Out, great shop. Cindy and Joel, thank you so much for these beer mugs. We do appreciate it. And we're drinking a local beverage, Timber Ships. Which one is it? The Farewell Buoy.
They are. Buoy. That's it.
Oh. All right. Cheers to that, John.
Indeed.
And who are we? I am sketchy old Tom Daly here with my good friend, the Doctor of History, Sean McCarthy. Sean, how are you?
Oh, the very best.
Tonight.
And yourself?
I'm doing okay.
That's good.
Doing good. Folks watching, if you are feeling sick, if you feel under the weather, if you feel like you need to be healed, this is the show for you. Oh, yeah. We are going to talk about Msgr Frederick Ryan, better known as Father Ryan, the healing priest of the Miramichi.
Yeah. The latter one, not Father Morrissey, the first healing priest of the Miramichi.
There was another
talking about
priest.
later.
We'll talk about him as well.
That's it.
Father Ryan. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. My family held Father Ryan in very high regard. Family members of mine went and visited him and were healed.
Okay.
Yeah, they were made better. So, Sean, I'll hand it over to you with some of the early history of Father Ryan. Where was he born? His early life. What do you know about that?
Not a whole lot in terms of that history, but I know that he kind of rose to prominence here in the community when he arrived in 1921.
Okay.
As the priest in Red Bank. So before that, let me kick my notes out here so that I can kind of read them at a distance. That's it. He was.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, that's no trouble. So he was born in the southeastern part of the province. He did his studies in Memramcook at the St. Joseph University. So that was the first, really kind of the big Acadian university of that time. So he joined the priesthood probably in the early part of the, I guess. Yeah, ordained 1904 at St. Michael's, started his time in Tobique in 1906, and by 1921 he was in Red Bank or Metapinagyug, and would remain there for the rest of his time. He left his regular parish service in 1955, so he would have been there for, I guess that would have been 34 years?
Yeah.
So had a real fixture in the community during that time. I was also, I guess, involved with the federal government through what was then Indian Affairs. So he was the Indian agent in the community as well as being the parish priest.
Gotcha. And it's serving on these Indian or Native reservations, we believe, where he learned a lot of this knowledge, this healing. From what I had heard, they said that Father Ryan, from being in the Tobique missions and Red Bank and places like that, he learned knowledge from the elders and, what they were doing. And he also combined it with German books, German herbals, and things like that he had. Yeah, and there's a doctor, is there Dr. Gerhard or something like that, I believe, was the writer of one of these herbals. So he kind of mixed and matched things, I think. He took some European style cures and folk medicines, you might say, and mixed it with the First Nations, cures as well. So,
which again, I mean, I think speaks to kind of the openness of the guy. If he's able to kind of say, okay, I want to learn from different traditions.
He's open to pretty much anything as long as it makes people feel better. And feel better, it did, didn't it?
It did for sure. Yeah. I think his German herbology book is at the St. Michael's Museum in Chatham now.
Okay.
And I was able to view it oh, that's probably 2-3 years ago, and it's worn through.
Is it?
You know,
Okay, so
it's held together, but it's just holding together.
That's fascinating.
It's clear that it's been used.
It's been used a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any family stories? Do you know of any of your relatives went to pay a visit to Father Ryan when they were feeling under the weather?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah.
I don't know any specific stories, but of course my mom's family is all from up that way.
Yes, exactly.
You know, so they knew Father Ryan quite well. And yeah, but I don't know of any specific stories that Mom's ever shared with me about him. But other than I guess just his time as the priest, but not in his healing function. But I know you do. So
yeah,
please.
The story I had heard. I grew up, of course, in Burnaby, and I heard this from my grandfather, Edward Daly, and my grandmother. Her maiden name is Brennan, and her mother was a McGrath. So, what does that play a part? There was a priest around here, which people watching this in the area might remember him, Father Henry McGrath. And you know who I'm talking about. Yeah.
A nicer man you couldn't find.
Very nice man. Lived to be very old. He was late 80s, maybe even early 90s, I believe, when he died.
Yeah.
He was up there for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But what a lot of people don't know is he was very, very sick when he was a boy, just a young man. So the story goes that he'd been taken to all kinds of doctors, and then they couldn't find out what was wrong with him. So, last-ditch effort, I guess they probably would have wrote back then, you know what I mean? We're talking, I don't know, maybe the early part of the 1900s for sure. And to get in touch with Father Ryan to see if there was anything he could do. So, sure enough, he said, yeah, bring him along. I want to have a look at him. I'll try to make him better. But be here at 6 a.m. because I'm a very busy man. So Barnaby is quite a ways by horse and wagon from Red Bank. So it was probably an all-night venture to get there. And anyway, he had a look at him and whatnot. And whatever the case, I believe it involved the pine packs, which we're going to talk about here in a moment, and a very strict diet as well, too. Father Henry was never a very big man. He was always pretty lean, but I think he was dangerously. He had a wasting disease, just like Creepy Dave, our spider behind the camera. No, but he was very, very sick, and Father Ryan, worked and made him much better. And the story goes that, he was on his way out, and his father was quite concerned, and he put the coat over him because he was so frail. And he said, "Don't worry, you'll fill that coat in no time. You're going to live to be an old man. I know it."
Okay, yeah.
And that he did. So, we heard that story over and over again because Father Henry's father, and it would be my great-grandmother, I believe, were siblings.
Okay.
So
we
are related that way. It's a ways back for sure. Like I said, there's a couple generations or more between him and I. But I know Father Henry himself talked about too. Father Ryan held him in very high regard, and probably that might have had something to do with him becoming a priest.
Well,
I mean,
very
if
possibly.
a priest saved his life when he was a young boy like that, and when the doctors had given up on him, and he, was able to make him better.
Well, and and Father Henry, as we just mentioned, was a great priest in his own right.
He was such a nice guy, wasn't he?
That's it. I remember, back in the day when, of course, the school let us all go to confession, before Easter and Christmas, which I'm sure they probably don't do now. but all the kids from Barnaby always went to Father Henry, and usually, like I say, probably because I was good friends with you, I'd kind of, I'd tag along.
It was an easy sentence, it was like one Hail Mary or something.
For sure, but he was always so nice about it, confession's always an awkward thing, anyway, especially, that's it. But he'd always say, that he'd assure you that, you're doing good and God loves you and all that. Which again, not every priest will do.
No, he was ahead of his time to be preaching that God loves you.
Exactly. That's right.
His generation.
That's right.
That's
right.
That wasn't in the cards.
That's anyway. I always thought very highly of him. For sure.
Yeah.
You
couldn't get a nicer guy now.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember Father Grattan, another priest who we're familiar with, and I hated school so bad. I remember my mom saying, "Don't use the word hate." You know what I mean? Just tell him you dislike it. So I didn't do that. He's like, "Do you like school?" Because he was asking that to every kid. I'm like, "I hate it, Father." And he's like, "So did I." He's like, "I would have quit so many times if it wasn't for Father Henry McGrath. He was the only priest that was nice to me at the college." So,
well, there you go. Yeah. And to your point earlier too, I know there was a lot of, just in the kind of the quick bit of research that I did, that it was not uncommon for there to be, several people in a day calling on Father Ryan in the way that
he was a busy man, like you said. Be there at 6 o'clock.
That's right.
He'll squeeze you in. And I guess that would show that you really wanted it too, to get there at 6 a.m. from Barnaby. So very interesting guy. He was probably under a lot of pressure, like a lot of overworked doctors are today. I've heard he could be kind of abrupt, and didn't mess around. I think it was, my great-grandfather on my mom's side or something like that. He took one look at him and said, "Your only problem is you're too fat." So he was
there you go.
So he didn't like him at all, but sure enough, he didn't give up. He didn't give up the cake. Diabetes killed him at 60, I believe. So
right.
But so back to Father Ryan. That's the family story I have. And we're going to talk about the cures here in just a moment.
Sure.
Before we jump into those cures, it's called Tell Me a Story.
Yep.
We heard some other stories involving this guy, and some involved a celebrity.
Yes.
You say?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to tell this one or me?
No, you go right ahead. You probably know it a little bit better than I do.
Okay. So the story goes, if you like a story, at some point, a very famous country musician came here for a cure. And the story goes, his voice was failing him. He was, probably into the drugs a little too much, into the drinking a little too much. And they thought he was going to lose his voice or even have something more serious wrong with him. So it was kept hush-hush, but good old Miramichi, the word got out anyway. They spotted this fellow because he was quite an interesting guy, and he always dressed in black, this musician.
Yes.
So Johnny Cash is who I'm talking about. He was spotted in the Red Bank area, they say, and now maybe it was just a vacation. I know there's a photograph of Marilyn Monroe fishing in the rapids. So
Yes, that's right.
Celebrities do come here, folks.
Yes.
So if there's anybody famous watching this, Joe Rogan, come on down. But Johnny Cash, the story goes, was around that time when Cash wasn't in the best of shape. Came here and paid a visit to Father Ryan to get straightened out. So I've heard that story. Can't prove it again. This is all, folklore.
Yeah, sure.
You've heard it too? Have you heard that one? Yeah. I might have read it in one of those, those gas station books I talk about that you always found. Yeah. So,
And we put that as part of a show that we used to do at
we
Bedford
did.
Cove.
We did. Our friend, Josh Holland, our late friend.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Johnny.
Yes, indeed. That's true. And you were Father Ryan.
I was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. But again, in terms of, he was, again, as you say, very abrupt, but it could also be clearly a very generous guy.
He was.
Going through all of his stuff at the St. Michael's Museum. It's clear that he put a lot of money into, supporting seminarians or, children in need in other countries, because so many letters, back to him from people that he was helping out financially from other parts of the world, so clearly a very generous man. I know he adopted a young man from Ireland, brought him back here from County Kerry, I think.
Okay.
And that young man went on to join the Royal Canadian Air Force, and he died in service in the Second World War.
Okay.
Timothy Harnett, I believe his name was. So, that's it. I think he also had a ship, too, a wooden sailing model ship, I guess, that traveled from New York to Quishmaquack, passing through different hands and eventually ending up with him.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. Now, he gave all this money to charity and helped so many people. I also heard a story about where this money came from.
Okay.
All right. So, Father Ryan, of course, he helped all these people and cured them. He would never take any money, would he? That's how he got around, because they were watching him.
Sure.
The whole idea was, how did he get away with, practicing medicine without a license, much like Father Morrissey? They didn't charge for it. There were these folk healers, you know what I mean? And again, so one individual, a very rich fellow, the story goes, came here and, Father Ryan cured him, like so many others, and he wouldn't take no for an answer. He's like, I want to pay you. You know what I mean? You saved my life. And And again, Father Ryan said, no, I just do this, you know what I mean? But he's like, I insist, if let me give you the money and you help people with it then. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Father Ryan must have agreed to it because you see money going out and out all the time. And that individual is believed to be a member of the Colgate dynasty. So, yeah. Some so when you're brushing your teeth, the brand is still alive today, thanks to, Father Ryan. And the story goes, like, again, I've heard everything from $500,000 or to maybe even $1 million that he gave because he was so grateful for being cured. So that would explain where Father Ryan was able to help these other people.
Yeah.
Again, can't prove this, and you won't find this on Google. It's those old stories I heard from people passed on.
Sort of makes sense if again, you're probably not in the 20s and 30s, getting rich on a priest's allowance or whatever. So that you're able to kind of to support this number of people, and clearly he was able to do that in some way or another. So it's possible that maybe he had somebody who was a benefactor in that way that allowed him to extend that help outside of the community.
So pretty neat stuff. Anyway, all right, so now these cures, should we warn people first before we start reading them? Don't try this at home, folks.
I think so. Probably, because we're reading them, it doesn't necessarily mean that we condone their use. We are not Father Ryan, so
yeah, we certainly aren't.
That's it. So we're not able to kind of advise you on the proper way of doing this. So.
I do not have the Lord on my side.
Oh, of course you do, Tom.
Okay, we're going to read the cures, Sean. You have some lying around here, and
just into the camera's view. Yeah. So, so we'll start with the special tonic cold medicine. So directions: you beat 6 eggs, shells and all.
Oh, it's the shells.
Yeah, in a glass dish. You tear the shells till they're about the size of a cent. Put all in a dish with the rest of the eggs. So I guess you beat the eggs, and then you tear the shell up and you put it in with the eggs. You squeeze the juice out of 12 lemons.
It's bad already, isn't it?
Pour that into the eggs. You let that stand for 24 hours. You stir a few times. Then you strain it all through a coarse wire strainer. You save the liquid, and into it, you add 1/4 of a pint of cod liver oil. Then 1/4 of a pint of bee's honey. So that sweetens it up a little bit.
Yeah, it sweetens it up. Yeah.
That's it. Now here's the part that you're going to like.
Okay.
3/4 of a pint of old Jamaica rum.
There you go. He wasn't afraid of the bottle. That's one thing. No.
But I suppose that's
he wasn't a Baptist, that's for sure. He was not afraid of the rum. That's a secret ingredient in a lot of things.
Well, I suppose that would be like kind of like an antiseptic or whatever. That would be, or any kind of rum. But he recommends Old Jamaica.
That's great.
But that's it. All right, so it is now ready to use. Always shake well before using. Keep well corked in a cool, dry place. Take before meals or after. So first drink. Okay, so this is the dose. This is how you take it. First, drink the white of a raw egg, then 2 or 3 teaspoons of Sina tea, which is a laxative. Then drink 2 or 3 teaspoons of the tonic that you just created. If this amount is too strong or hurts your stomach, take 1 or 2 or even less at a time, and you follow this tonic for 6 to 8 months.
Okay.
So I'm assuming it's probably curative of the cold, but maybe also preventative.
That's not the worst one. So anybody, you have my permission. Go ahead. I'm pretty libertarian, so go ahead and try that and get back to us. I'd try that one. I think. There's nothing in there that's gonna. It's not like.
That's right. Yeah, and it wouldn't be. I'm assuming the egg shells must be like for calcium or something.
It is.
Yeah. You just kind of let it stand in the mixture for 24 hours, and then you don't consume them. But
I bet the calcium comes out of the shells. Yeah. The lemon and the rum soaks out the. Find somebody with some good organic eggs, and
that's it. Yeah,
not the eggs at the supermarket, the $2.99 ones, whatever. If there's anybody in the States, they're like, what? The ones that have like the pink ink on the side or something. Yeah, don't use those.
No.
Those will kill you.
But there are, again, not to get off on a tangent, but there seems to be more kind of farm fresh eggs around
Yeah.
lately.
Let's
So
make a comeback. Yeah.
that's it.
Friend of Clara's has.
Sorry, folks in the States, but
Let's rub this in a little further.
that's it.
Yeah, those eggs are really good.
They are.
They can creep
They
you out
are.
a little bit. 'Cause sometimes it'll be a weird, like, turquoise color or something. You're like,
Mm.
whoa, is this a robin? But no, it's, yeah. When you see that yolk, it's like, oh my God, there's so much fun. You can keep them at room temperature, too.
Yes,
That's like in Sweden.
Yeah.
I remember I was creeped out when I first went there because all the eggs were just there in the middle of the aisle with the cereal. And I found it so weird. But yeah, it never got sick. And there was never like a weird, oh my God, it's a half live chicken or something. It was always, yeah.
Yes,
Right,
sir.
right.
All right. So here is a remedy for a deaf person, it says. Now, I'm assuming this is probably not permanent deafness. This must be like,
Earwax or
Yeah.
something.
or maybe like a cold-induced or congestion-induced deafness.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't know. So into 4 quarts of boiling water, put 1 teaspoon of turpentine.
Oh.
So cover your head with a blanket and steam your head for 20 minutes, keeping your eyes and your mouth open while steaming. Wash your face and head in cold water for 2 to 3 minutes, then dry with a towel. Then throw in 3 tablespoons of cold water and gargle in your throat with cold water for 2 to 3 minutes. So I'm assuming you must take the mixture plus 2 or 3 tablespoons of cold water. Then bathe feet and knees in cold water for 10 minutes. Dry your feet and legs well. Then go to bed. Don't sleep with the window open. Only do this at night for 3 weeks. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. The huffing turpentine. I don't know if I'm not going to risk that one just yet. We'll see how the night goes. But
Open up your airways, I suppose.
I guess. Yeah.
The strong smell.
That's
but
true.
that's
What
it.
is turpentine even used for now? Is it? It's a cleaning substance? Is
I
it?
think so. Like it'll strip.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
again, something else to keep in
It's
mind.
only a teaspoon.
It's only a teaspoon.
So,
That's true.
Yeah.
And God knows how much these things have changed today. Maybe, like a lot of things,
Yeah.
the turpentine was cleaner back then
Could
than
be.
it is now.
Could
Before,
be,
you know.
Yeah. Less kind of chemicals in it or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. All right. Chest cold, 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of turpentine, a tablespoon of goose grease, bear grease, or pure lard.
That one feels really.
So, and then render and apply warm at night, morning, for 3 days. So like a
Yeah, that feels like a First Nations recipe for sure. The bear grease, I think. You know what I mean?
yeah, it could be. Yeah. That's it for sure.
It's not like you're going to buy that at the grocery store.
No,
they weren't selling that at
No, that's right. But I do think that they rendered bear fat an awful lot more
back then. Did
back
they?
in the day.
Yeah. True.
I think there were more. Obviously, there were more bears around.
More bears around,
you know.
and bears were being hunted
That's it.
and whatnot. Yeah.
That's it. Because you do, when you read about like, oh, so and so killed a bear, and it was like so many pounds of meat, but so many pounds of fat. that
Okay.
They rendered it and turned it
Yeah.
into bear grease, right? That's it. Yeah. Also, apparently good for like pomade. They use bear grease in like their
In the hair?
yeah.
Wow.
That's it. So that's it. Rub for arthritis. Into a dish or jar, put the following: 1/4 of a cup of kerosene, 1/4 of a cup of turpentine, 1/4 of a cup of olive oil, 3 teaspoons of mustard, 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Mix well. Then add 5 tablespoons of coarse bag salt. Pick out the large grains. Do not let any fine salt get into the mixture, as it will float on the mixture and therefore scratch your skin while rubbing it on. So keep stirring while using this rub when not in use. Keep in an airtight, cool, dark place. Rub parts affected with this rub 5 or 6 times daily until cured. Rub with force and quickly as to give friction. And wear old woolen underclothing night and day, as underclothing becomes soaked with the rub, thus causing it to penetrate the parts more effectively.
I think my father might have done that.
Okay.
I think he might have, when he was, because he's had arthritis for a long, long time. And if it was that or something else, but I remember when you mentioned the long underwear, you don't wear that to
keep it, yeah.
And kerosene, too, that seems like another one of the industrial
Sure. Yeah, you probably
industrial medicines.
Yeah, and probably Probably kerosene then and kerosene now, probably.
I think
You
so.
know, yeah.
Probably very flammable.
That's true.
Don't go smoking
That's
with
it.
that one. Yeah.
Interestingly, for those folks who are outside of the province, kerosene, of course, derived from albertite in Albert County.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Abraham Gessner apparently is one of the people that, I don't know if he invented kerosene or was involved in the invention of kerosene from this albertite mineral that was in
Albert
it's highly
County.
flammable. Yeah.
Huh.
So
I did not know that at all.
as a substitute to whale oil. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah. So there you go.
We have our next pitch for the good folks in Albert County.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Don't we?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. All right. How about a cure for an itch?
Let's hear it.
So take a warm bath, 33 degrees. Then rub the skin with sharp soap called green soap. Take this
Irish Spring?
bath. Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Take this bath for 15 minutes. After the bath, at once get clean warm water again and wash the body with warm water using only ordinary soap for this bath. Then, right after the second bath, wash the body using ordinary soap. So it's like 3 baths. Towel your body and then retire. Or follow these 3 washings for 3 or 4 nights in a row. By this time, the itch should be cured. If not, try 3 more. Then let me know. Return this paper to me. I have no time to make up these papers. See what I said?
Yeah.
So
Listen
this
here.
one on hand and for
Yeah.
another person.
Yeah.
Keep a copy of this for use.
Yeah.
Note. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember stuff like that. There's this weird quirks he had, you know.
That's it. Give this paper back.
Yeah.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. And he would say you have to mail this back or whatever. So it's like, or it'll fall into wrong hands. Like, ooh, the Wizard of Miramichi, we don't want him to get it, you know, from earlier episodes.
That's it.
But yeah.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. He knows Will Lawler's out there somewhere in the Northwest.
Somewhere out there.
That's it.
Trying to use this magic for evil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it. How about a cure for a goiter?
Let's hear it.
So, cut up the bark of a young oak tree, say from 6 to 8 years old, but not over 12. Cut up in small pieces about the size of a cent, put into a tin, or better, an enamel dish. Pour on about 7 or 8 quarts of boiling water, then steep for an hour. Save this cold liquid for future use. Dip 3 or 4 plies of cotton as a sheet into this liquid. Squeeze out a little so that it does not drip. Place around the throat, covering this cotton with a dry woolen cloth to keep it from reaching the cotton on the throat. Lie down for 1 hour. Do this 3 times daily for 2 or 3 weeks. Keep the oak liquid in a cool place so it does not sour. One could then keep this liquid for 1 week only. Use a small portion each time, just enough to soak the cotton in. After 1 week, make fresh liquid.
There we
So, yeah, that's another really kind of nature-based,
another nature-based
cure. So
one,
maybe
yeah.
something that he got from an elder, Yeah,
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's it. All right.
What do we got now?
We got the womb wash.
All right, ladies, this one's for you.
Anyway, I don't know. I don't know if this is an external or an internal. Anyway, that's it. So
Try it and find out.
No. That's it. We're not responsible.
We are not responsible. Yeah.
That's it. For use or misuse of these things, we are not Father Ryan. So one level teaspoon of alum, 1 cup of warm water, and wash every 20 minutes or half hour. The oftener the use, the better for you. So I'm not entirely sure what this is meant to,
Yeah, I don't know either.
address.
I don't either.
And
Things getting a bit itchy after one of those spicy barn dances up the Northwest.
I certainly hope not. That's it. But that's it. Anyway, cure for baldness.
Hey, there you go. You can use this.
You're my best friend.
Just saying, I'm trying to help you, Sean.
Exactly. So take water, a pint of water, pearl ash, a half an ounce of pearl ash, a quarter pint, of onion juice. That's I'm going to put this on my head. Mix and cork in a bottle. Rub the head hard with a rough linen towel dipped in the mixture. So
Okay.
that's it. I don't know.
Probably doesn't smell great. But,
Probably not onion. Probably not with a quarter pint of onion juice in it.
Yeah.
And So pearl ash.
I have no
Would
idea
that
what that
be-
is. Oh,
yeah.
maybe. No, that can't be right. I have no idea what it is.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's it. To fasten the teeth. So I don't know if this is
Oh,
like
if like
for-
your teeth are loose or something, maybe.
maybe.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I remember somebody saying about like some of the old guys, you know, they had, what was it? So they used to say about this old guy in Nelson, he'd smoke the pipe, and when he moved the pipe to the other side of his mouth, all the teeth would kind of sway with it.
Oh, really? Just teeth just swimming around in there.
That's it. They were so they were loose. So this guy fastened his teeth again. So put some powdered alum, a quantity of the quantity of a nutmeg.
Oh, that's like the whole nutmeg.
Okay.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Into a quart of spring water for 24 hours. Then strain the water off and gargle with it.
You might be able to get high from that. You can get
Okay.
high. You can get high from nutmeg, so that might be enough.
Well, it says powdered alum, the quantity of a nutmeg.
Oh, okay.
So just
Never mind.
nutmeg is usually being used as a measure. So I don't know if you can get high
If
off
you
of-
snort nutmeg, not that I know, but I've been told, you'll feel something.
There you go. Now to prevent hair from falling out. So if I didn't want to cure my baldness, but I wanted to kind of keep my hair at this level,
Yeah.
I would wash my head once a day with good Jamaica rum.
Oh, there you go. That's much easier. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, folks. So there's the
There's a few anyway.
the cures of Father Ryan.
That's it.
RFK would use all of those.
I'm sure he
even the
would.
womb wash.
Of course, he probably would.
He's a Kennedy.
That's it.
You'll
That's
find
it.
use for it. Yeah, really fun stuff. So thanks, Sean, for finding those. Did you find those at the museum?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
All right. So shout out for the museum at St. Michael's.
Yeah.
We talked about St. Michael's Basilica
A couple of episodes
a couple
ago.
of episodes ago.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Hmm.
All right. Have we done it?
I believe we have.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening and watching.
Mhm.
And a shout out for the man behind the camera, Creepy Dave, our producer, who we could not do any of this without him. Fantastic artist. If you're not checking out his work, there it is. Head on over to Coffee Doodles at David Jardine. Yeah, on Instagram. You can find him there, or the link in the description below.
That's right. Exactly. Be sure to check us out because by the time this video is on YouTube, we'll be deep in the throes of our summer season. So-
Yes, Character Matters Miramichi. If you're not following us already, Instagram and Facebook, make sure you do so you can see all the sorts of things we have going on. And yeah, we hope to see you there, whether you're from near or far.
Indeed. Indeed. So, with all that said, I guess we'll close out for this week.
All
I
right.
think so.
Be good. Stay healthy.
Yeah. Until next week.
See you.